What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So this video is dropping on Christmas Day, which means we are only one day away from the start of the 2024 U20 World Junior Championships over in Sweden. And I think that this tournament is one of the most wide open tournaments I have seen in recent memories. The past 2 years, at least, Canada has been pretty easily the favorite, then the United States, probably second, then maybe a drop off, Sweden, Finland. This year, it's really wide open. Canada, I think, is weaker than in previous years. Sweden at home has a very strong squad. Finland, pretty solid as always, maybe not as good as in previous years. Slovakia and Czechia, I think, are pretty scary teams. So I think it's wide open. I think this is one of the most fun World Juniors we're going to have in some time. So I thought it'd be a fun idea to do my full predictions based on group stage, group A, B, say I'm going to finish 1 through 5, then give my quarters, semis, finals, also give my relegation, who I think is going to get relegated. All of those predictions, as well as defenseman of the tournament, forward of the tournament, goalie of the tournament, and overall MVP. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Up first in Group A, I have Sweden in first place, Canada in second, Finland in third, Germany in fourth, and Latvia in fifth. I'm going with Sweden in first. I know my Canadian followers might not love that, but I think in the group stage, them against Canada, I probably would take Sweden. I do think Canada has more talent on paper, but just the home country, home aspect, Sweden hasn't really done that great in this tournament in previous years. I think they have a lot to prove. Not saying Canada is going to coast in like a group stage, but it's not as much online compared to the Swedes. Canada still has a very solid roster. Finland, a bit weaker than in previous years. I do think they are a peg down from Sweden, Canada, and the United States. They're in that weird 4 spot. I would argue Czechia and Slovakia have near equal rosters, so they're kind of in a weird spot. Germany, Julian Lutz would really have to pop off. He was the Arizona Coyotes' second-round pick in 2022. He's their one core piece, but obviously he's not like a Moritz Seider or Tim Stützle in previous years that can really carry them. But they do have a fighting chance. They definitely are my number 4 team right now. In Latvia, you got guys like Sandis Vilmanis, who is the Boston Bruins' 5th-round pick from 2022 that is playing pretty solid in the OHL right now. Or wait, he was actually taken by Florida. My bad. And then you got Dans Lokmelis, who was the Boston Bruins' 4th-round pick in 2022, who right now has 5 points in 12 NCAA games. Those are the 2 Latvian NHL-affiliated guys, and obviously Latvia has been on the rise on the whole. I don't think they are the worst team in this tournament, but they are pretty clearly number 9 or number 8. So right now, I have Latvia in the 5th spot, missing out. Over to Group B, United States winning it. I think the United States did get a very good draw with this. They don't have Sweden, Canada, or Finland. Then we got Slovakia number 2. I am going to show Slovakia's roster over my face right now. I think that this is the most underrated team in the entire World Juniors. I think they are going to make a lot of noise. You got guys like Dvorsky, 1st-round pick, 10th overall, Sam Honzek, Adam Gajan, won goddamn goalie of the tournament last year for this, as well as having Shrabak on, I just botched that name, but on defense, as well as a guy like the New York Rangers, Adam Sikora on the forward core. They have 5 or 6 NHL affiliated and high draft picks alone in the forward core. I think this team would finish second. Czechia, a solid team, not as good as last year. Last year, obviously, had David Jiricek and Yuri Kulich leading the way, as well as others. They still have a Jiricek. They have Adam Jiricek, who I'm a little bit low on in terms of 2024 draftees, but it's really going to come down to Yuri Kulich. Yuri Kulich. I just combined the Jiricheks and the Kulich. But Yuri Kulich, he is the 3rd best player in this entire tournament based on what he's done leading up to this tournament, in my opinion. So he is really going to have to put this team on the back. It's not as deep as the Czechia squad last year that made the finals, but it's still a solid squad. Switzerland, they have one NHL-affiliated guy, Rodwin Dionicio. He is American Swiss. He was born in goddamn Newark, New Jersey, my home state, but he was a Ducks 5th-round pick, and right now he has 20 points in 15 games as a defenseman for the Windsor Spitfires in the OHL, so he's really going to have to carry them. I think Switzerland is better than Norway. Norway has Michael Brandseg Nygaard, who is a highly regarded 2024 potential lottery pick, 6'4", very skilled winger, one of the more developed players in the 2024 draft in terms of like NHL ready. He is a beast, but I do think after that, Norway does fall off a lot. There's a reason why Norway has been in the 1A for a lot of years, just bouncing back and forth, versus Switzerland has been able to stay. I think Switzerland has far more depth, and they will beat Norway 4-2, 5-3, or something like that. So this is my Group B. So with these Group stages out of the way. We're going to dive into the quarters. But first, Latvia versus Norway in the relegation. I would go with Latvia. I think Latvia did prove themselves at last year's World Juniors, and I think Norway getting that bump up, unfortunately, I think this is just a one-time thing. I think they're going to get sent back to 1A, where they'll probably win the following year. They'll still have Nygaard next year. They'll run through the 1A tournament, but I would have Norway heading back to the lower tournament. Into our quarterfinals. Up first, Sweden, the 1 seed in Group A versus the 4 in Group B. Against Switzerland, I would have Sweden winning this. I don't think that's that controversial. They are just the far better team. Slovakia versus Finland. I'm going with Slovakia. Again, I'm very high on Slovakia. I think they would have the advantage in net in a game like this. You look at Finland, Konstantinius might be their best player. They don't have a ton of studs. They got Yanni Niemann. He's a Seattle second-round pick from 2022. I like him a lot, but I really like the Slovakian team. I think if they start clicking, and mind you, they don't even have the Simone Nemec or Juraj Slavkovsky, but I think Slovakia will kind of shock the world and at least beat Finland. Next up, USA versus Germany. USA should walk Germany. I don't mean to be offensive to the Germans, but Germany, not their most talented squad. United States probably has the 10 best players on the ice until you get to a Julian Lutz in terms of talent. Anything can happen, but I'm going to go with the United States. The final quarterfinal, Czechia versus Canada. This was obviously the gold medal match last year. I'm going with Canada. Again, just far too much forward depth in terms of Czechia, and especially I think a guy like Macklin Celebrini can just absolutely feast on that Czechia defense core. I don't think Czechia has enough. I know they really went on a surprising run last year. I can't see them making back-to-back semifinals, so I got Canada. Slovakia versus Sweden. This is when it gets interesting. I'm going with Slovakia. I love this Slovakian team. I didn't want to be basic. A lot of people are just going to have either their final be the United States, Canada, or Sweden in some order or fashion. I'm going with Slovakia. Last year, again, we saw a team like Czechia defy odds. They were a solid team, but really surprise people and make that final. I think that's Slovakia this year. This is their best World Junior team in maybe ever in terms of talent, in terms of overall depth. I think their forward core isn't that far behind of Sweden. Sweden's better. Don't get me wrong, but I can see something shocking like this happen. I'm going bold on this. Again, if Sweden ends up winning, I won't be shocked one bit. I think Sweden has more talent on paper. I think people are going to see and be like, Slovakia making the finals, like, oh, you think they're better than Canada or Sweden? I think 8 out of 10 times, 7 out of 10 times, Sweden probably beats Slovakia. I'm just going a little bit bold, and I'm going to go with Slovakia. I think people are sleeping on the Slovakian team, and I think they get it done. And then USA versus Canada in the other semifinal. I'm going with the United States. I think they have the far deeper defense core. You got guys like Lane Hudson, Seamus Casey, Zeev Buum, Ryan Chesley. I think they have the better defense than the Canadians overall. The Canadians, they don't have a true number one. They got guys like Matejchuk. They got guys like Lemieux. I just don't see it in terms of the defensive core being quite there for Canada. And in terms of in goal, I think US also has an advantage. Forward cores are about even, but when looking at it, I will go with the United States over Canada. Into that gold medal match, I'm going to go with the United States. I think the depth would eventually catch up. You look at a third line of Slovakia versus third line of the United States versus third line of Slovakia. The depth's just going to be far too much. It's going to be coming over the ice, coming over the bench every second. Oh, we throw goddamn Jimmy Snuggerud on the third line or something like ridiculous like that, while Slovakia has some no-name guy. So I think the United States get it done, and obviously their defense core is much, much better than Slovakia. So when looking at that, I think the United States will win the 2024 World Juniors, and I don't think that's a hot take. I think they are the more talented roster on paper compared to previous years. If I said last year, I think I predicted Canada to win it because it was just so obvious. But this year, I think people are starting to see, oh, this United States team is better than Canada and better than Sweden. So if they can play to the potential that they're capable of, I think they get it done. As for the MVP and defenseman of the tournament, I'm going with Lane Hudson. He looked great in the first game against Canada, had one disgusting play. But when looking at him, I think he obviously has the offensive chops. They don't really look at like underlying numbers in this goddamn tournament. It's about who racks up the most points for the most part. And I think Lane Hudson is going to ball out, get 10, 11, 12 points in 7 games. And I think he's going to win it. As for the forward of the tournament, Macklin Celebrini, I think he does have the most offensive talent on Team Canada. Might not be the best two-way player. Matt Pontra might be more offensively or two-way talent, but Macklin Celebrini is that high-velocity engine in terms of fantastic skater, fantastic shot. I think he's going to score probably 5 goals 8 or 9 assists, get to 13, 14 points in those 7 games. And also, I'm in the bronze medal game. I'm going to go with Canada over Sweden. I think Sweden does not medal. Swedish followers are going to hate me, but I do think Canada will get it done in the bronze medal game. And then as for the goalie of the tournament, Adam Gajan. Yeah, if I have Slovakia making the goddamn final, I think Adam Gajan's going to have to absolutely ball out, and he is obviously a highly regarded prospect, 2023 second-round pick at the Chicago Blackhawks. He's a very good player, just barely missed out on my top 10 goalie prospects, and I think he really shows it. He won it last year. He can obviously do it, but that is my World Juniors. So again, group stage, 1-2. Then we got United States winning gold, Slovakia winning silver, Canada winning bronze, Lane Hudson MVP, defenseman of the tournament, Macklin Celebrini forward of the tournament, and Adam Gajan goalie of the tournament. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is this a massive miss? Is Canada going to win it? Is Slovakia going to win it? I want to hear from you guys, and I'm just so excited for this tournament, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.